Hello and welcome to another edition of Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 11, Episode 12 for Sunday the 4th of December 2022. Hello there everybody, welcome to the show. It is indeed Sunday once again. It soon comes around, doesn't it? Have you noticed it? I think it's coming around faster at the moment than it has been doing. Yeah, the last 2 or 3 weeks have really whizzed around. Well, yeah, we're here. We've made it for another Sunday evening. We'll be with you for the next hour or so, maybe a bit longer. Who knows? Yeah, hello to everybody who's already in the chat as well. Hello to Christopher, Wesley, Miguel, Fat Hobbit, Dominic, Gambo's here as well. If you're watching us live, we are in the YouTube chat. Go to us on YouTube, or if you're watching on the website, click on the thing where it says pop out chat, and you can chat via YouTube with us live on the show, and it should appear down there somewhere as well. So if you're watching on a thing where you can't see a chat window, something like a smart TV for instance, you won't be able to take part in the chat, but you can at least see what we're talking about because it all pops up somewhere over there. So what are we doing? Yes, Christopher, I did get the photos. Just catching up on the chat. Wesley says, evening Andy, very festive clock. Yes, it's that time of year again, Wesley, when the clock goes all festive. Yeah. Gambo says he's made it on time today. Yeah, brilliant, Gambo. Excellent stuff. Right. Okie dokie. Only really got one major thing on today. But there is a bit of a story behind the major thing we've got on today. We've got a telephone today that arrived. Now it's here. A very ordinary looking telephone. And it is a very ordinary looking telephone. I will put it down here where you can see it a bit better, hopefully. But yeah, it is a very ordinary looking. Let's get the camera on it. There it is. A very ordinary looking phone, you think? Now, I bought this. This cost me far too much money. With the postage, this cost me 25 quid. It's far too much money. But there is something about this that I spotted that I don't think anybody else spotted. And that is, it's not a normal 746 phone. It's a trial. Because if one looks underneath it, it's got some rather interesting lettering. Can I get that in focus so you can see it? Can I, Eckers like? There, I think. So it says on it, Teller 746. If I get out that light actually. Teller 746T. Yeah? Not L or F. Teller 746T. Do not recover generically. And the reason you don't recover this 746 generically is because it ain't like other 746s, and if you recovered it generically, you'd find there were weird things happening. The first thing you notice about it is when you lift the handset up, it's got a white hook switch. and it's kind of different. It kind of moves about. You know, these kind of jiggle about a bit more than they normally do, but it's white, and it's kind of shaped as well. These aren't just a square blob. These are fairly intricately shaped plastic mouldings. And when you turn it around and look at the back of the case, you see the screw. It's a different screw to normal, and it's also in a different place to normal. And you don't take the screw all the way out, you just loosen it, and then the case kind of slides off through that slot at the bottom. Can you see? So what is this? Well, nobody seems to know. All I can tell you is it's a 746T, and it was made in 1980. Now, the story goes that I was looking on eBay a couple of weeks back, and I always sort of type in telephone spares as a search into eBay that I look for, because it sometimes comes up with complete phones that are not working, so we get them cheaper. And it came up with a base plate, just a base plate, that had that blue sticker on it, and it said, like, this is a weird field trial phone because it's got this blue sticker on, it said. And the base plate on its own was £9, which is ridiculously expensive for a 746 base plate. But I thought, being it's something different, I will put a bid on it. So I did, and I won it, and it's not arrived yet because of the post. But when I won it, I then thought, right, I've won that base plate, that weird base plate, that'll make a talking point on the show. So I then thought, what is a 746T though? So I typed it into my search engine of choice, which is DuckDuckGo, not Google, and lo and behold, one of the top search results that came up was for eBay for a 746T. So I clicked on it, and this phone was listed for £20. So I think it was listed at £25 or something, and I made an offer that was a bit lower. It was pretty immediately accepted, and it turned up in the post yesterday. Now, there was a problem though when it turned up in the post, because whoever had packed it had done one of the worst packing jobs I've ever seen on eBay. Sorry if it was you, if you're listening to this or watching this, but it was a terrible packing job. All they'd done was put a few sheets of scrunched up cartridge paper in a box, dump the phone in the box with the handset on the rest like that. That is a massive no-no, an absolutely massive no-no. If you're sending a phone through the post, never ever ever send it with the handset on the rest like that. Never, never, never do that, because what happens is, in the post, they get a knock on the end like that, and it smashes the case. It smashes the handset into the case, and it got here, and all the case here had got a massive, massive, great big hole in it, and lots and lots of little tiny pieces of plastic in the bottom of the box. So I spent most of overnight, last night and this morning, restoring this plastic, and that's why it's not shiny at the minute. It's not been polished up yet. I have got it relatively smooth and that, and I think you'll agree you can't really see there's a hole there, but it does need some more polishing to get some of the marks out of it and that, but at least it is back in one piece now. And all because somebody had sent it through the post with the handset on the rest. So here we are. It is a 746T. Now I can't actually find out much about the 746T. It doesn't seem to there don't seem to be any information out there on it. So if you do know anything about it, please do let me know, because I will be very, very interested to find out about it. Right, so I'm just going to do a little search here now. To see if we can find a list of telephone manufacturers. I'm sure there is one somewhere. Right, here it is. Right, it's EET this is made by. So who are EET on this list of manufacturers that I've got here? You can't see this list, sorry, but I'm just... Right. EET. Right, that's interesting, because EET is Plessy, apparently, at Beeston in Notts. Ex Ericsson Telephones Limited. So that is who EET are, because it says underneath this thing here, if I can get it on the camera again, underneath this thing here, you see, it is EET 746T EET 80/1. So it's Plessy, ex Ericsson, Plessy at Beeston in Notts, which is not far away from it. So they made it. Well, that's interesting, because if you take the handset apart and you look on there, that says, you probably can't see it on the camera, but be assured that says STC on it, on that one. Not Plessy. And who's the other one made by? Is there a manufacturer code on it? Oh, that's got GEN on that one. So, come on, who were GEN in the list of manufacturers? I have a feeling that did have something to do with Plessy, because some of these companies were taken over and things at various times, of course, weren't they? So we're thinking this is a Plessy phone then, but there's all kinds of weird things about it. All kinds of weird stuff, and I'm sure you're wanting me to open it up now and see if it's weird on the inside as well, aren't you? So we will do that. But there is one big thing that this phone does that I always talk about, and it'll be revealed what it is in a minute. So this screw, you don't take it all the way out, you just undo it a bit like the screw that goes in the bottom of a wall phone, 711 and 741, because the screw hole is not actually a hole in the case, it's a hole with a slot in it. So you just take the screw part way out so the head clears the actual case, and then you just lift the case off with a slot. But the thing is, if I do it on camera there, see, that came off a bit easier than they normally do, didn't it? And inside it's fairly ordinary. It's a fairly ordinary 746 circuit board. This sort of bank of contacts on this switch, this is a little bit different to what they usually are, and the circuit boards aren't often green, you know, but it's not totally unusual. I have seen green circuit boards before, but it's not common. Now somebody has done all kinds of weird things in here, because look what they've done to these jumpers. Look, they've bent them, just connect them to one thing and bent them. Why on earth would you do that? So we'll take those off. But it is wired for modern plug and socket, and as you can see, it's already got a modern line cord fitted to it. But why they've done this with these, I do not know. Bent them. It's most bizarre. But you do find bizarre things inside telephones sometimes when you open them. But generally, it's a fairly ordinary, late model circuit board as far as I can tell for a 746. But what makes it different is the case, because it's got these weird hook switch things, which you see under there are bits of white plastic that just clip in. But what they clip into, I don't know if you can see in there, but the moulding, the grey moulding of the case is different where these go through. So it's an entirely different moulded case, and of course this is in a different place, this hole, and if you see how the hole works there, you see how it's got like a countersink in the case for the head of the screw to sit in. So the head of the screw actually locks the case on, and you can see the slot, how the case lifts off. But also, different to normal, this bezel. If I rotate it and take it off, it's most different to normal, because these little tabs on the back of it are bigger and more chunky than they normally are. Now these often break off, as anybody who's ever restored one of these phones will know, but they're much more chunky on this one. So this is obviously a 746 that somebody has thought about and really thought, how can we improve it? What can we do to make a 746 better? And in my humble opinion, they have actually managed it. But the most amazing thing that they've managed at making it better, anybody that's watched this channel for a while will know I always complain about putting the cases back on these phones. I always say, you know, they won't go on. Who's ringing me? Is that you, Christopher? Bet it's Christopher, isn't it? Alright, let's see if it's Christopher. Hello. Has it gone down? Oh, right, hang on. Right, it should be better now, Christopher. Should be better now. Yeah, you'll be about 30 seconds down. Yeah, okay, lovely. Thanks for letting me know. Cheers. Cheers. Bye. Bye. That's the useful thing about CNET. When the stream's not working right, somebody can ring you and tell you. Yeah. So the audio went down on it apparently. So I'll repeat that this bezel on this thing is different. You see, it's got bigger things on, bigger tabs on, and it's like somebody really thought about the 746 and went, how can we make a better one? How can we improve it? So this was some kind of field trial apparently, although I can't find out much data about it. But the big thing that I always say, as I was saying before Christopher rang me there, the big thing that I always say is, why can't they make a 746 as easy to get the top on and off of as the Americans do with their 500 series phones? Well, watch this. And just to prove it wasn't a fluke, shall I do it again? And a third time, because I'm feeling lucky now. Now, why the hell did they not stick with that? Why was this only a trial? Why did they not go, my God, that's brilliant, and carry on with that? Because it is so much better. It is so much better. And then all you have to do, no screw with a silly little spring on it, just an ordinary screw. There you have it. It is so much better than an ordinary 746. It really is much better. Much better. So that is the, well, I assume it was a GPO phone. GPO 746T. Which, as far as I can work out, was some kind of field trial, although it doesn't actually say field trial anywhere on it, I notice. But it must have been some kind of field trial for the GPO, and it's absolutely brilliant. I really like it. It's a really good phone. So there you have it. 746T. So yeah, what are people saying about it in the chat? I bet that's got people talking, hasn't it? Wesley says a screw is a bit like a wall phone. Yeah, it's a similar idea, Wesley, but it's not the same screw. It is a different screw. This one's got a bigger head on than the ones on a wall phone. Dominic says, were they trialling further cost cuts to production, given it's late into the 746 run? Well, if this was a cost cut, I have to say it's a cost cut they ought to have done, because it's a way better design case-wise than that. The only thing that's different about it is the case. The circuitry and that, as far as I can see, is all the same, but it's the case, and it's way better. Much better. Well, it says we lost the audio. Yeah, we did. The audio went low for a bit, didn't it? But it came back again. It was me. I clicked something I shouldn't have clicked. Penfold says, try sign language, Andy. Yeah, hopefully you don't need it now. All this business. Not very good at sign language, but I have put a 5 on the 330 at Kempton. Dominic says, I suppose you're lucky it wasn't a material trial on the case for something that doesn't work with the acetone. You know, I never thought of that, Dominic. I never thought it might have been a material trial as well. But it does work with the acetone. I melted some grey phone case today from a broken case that I'd got, and that is my pot of acetone slurry, which will sort of move around in the pot if you let it. But yeah, so that's how I did the repair. I glued it all back together with acetone, all the bits, and then filled all the gaps in that were left with slurry. It didn't half take some piecing together though. It was like trying to put together a blank jigsaw puzzle with it all just being grey and all being fairly flat bits as well. It was really, really hard to put back together. Spig says, whack the volume up, you can just hear him. Hopefully it's back to normal now, Spig. Yeah, Christopher did it. Christopher rang and let me know it wasn't working. The wonders of CNET. You see, CNET is useful, honestly. Yeah, Christopher saved the day with the sound. Andy was calling from an N1970B telephone, apparently. Dominic says, it's a shame they didn't accept this modification. It is, Dominic's. It's a really, really good modification. I've never seen one before. I've never ever seen one of these before. Wesley says, I guess the emergence of the Statesman, Viscount, etc. rendered it obsolete before it was implemented. Well, it's interesting because in the early to mid 1980s, certainly after this phone was made in 1980, they were making new 746 cases because they were making the brown ones that they sold in the telecom shops as the Yeoman, which were old phones refurbished and recased, a bit like they were recasing trim phones at the time as the Snowden range phones. So the brown ones were cases made in the 1980s. So why did they not make those brown cases to this design? I've got no idea. It would have been way better to do it, unless it was something to do with tooling, and this tooling was only done at one factory and they didn't want to make any more molds to make this new case, because the expensive part of making a plastic component is making the tooling to make the thing. Raleigh famously made a plastic bicycle. This was Raleigh at Nottingham, famously made a plastic bicycle that they were hoping to sell to third world countries as a cheap form of transport. It was lightweight, it was rugged, and they thought, oh, we'll sell loads of these, we can make them dirt cheap. Everything on it was plastic, even the brake shoes were plastic on it. They thought we'll be able to ship millions of these out to Africa, and they did all the tooling and that for it, because it was before the days of computer design, of course, and 3D printers. Did all the tooling for it, which they had to do to make the first bicycle, and they set the production line going in the morning and got all the components, and about lunchtime the first bike had been put together. Somebody got on it and promptly fell off. And then somebody else got on it and promptly fell off. And then the next guy got on it and promptly fell off. And they found out what was happening was everything on this bicycle was warping, because it was made out of plastic, and when the weight of a person got on it, it was all going and twisting and making you fall off. And it was totally useless. So they shut down the production line, never made any more. All the ones that you will ever see, if you ever, and I don't know if it's the same one I've seen twice or if I've seen two in my life, but any that you will ever see were made basically in about one morning of production at Raleigh, because they gave up straight away. At least that's the story that I'm told from the guy I met that owned one of these bikes. He was at Fleetwood Festival one year, and he was offering a prize to anybody who could ride his bike across the street, not down the street, across the street from side to side. If you could go from one curb to the opposite curb, he'd give you a prize, and nobody could do it. Dominic said, I like the retained screw. It can't go missing on the 746. Yeah, I don't know if this one's retained or not. It gets very hard when you've wound it out enough to lift the case off. It gets very hard to wind it any further. So I don't know if this is actually retained somehow or not. It's just that I've not took it right out, because it tightens up a bit. Tightens up when it unscrews, if that makes any sense. Wesley says, did you elaborate on why the white switch hooks while you were on mute? No idea, Wesley. The only thing I can think is they're a separate unit that clips into the case, and the only reason that I can think for them being white like that and being separate and attached to the case rather than attached to the mechanism underneath, which is how it normally works, is so you can easily get the case off. Because when you put the case on and off a normal phone, these coming through the two holes are one of the things that it normally snags on. So not having those to snag on, hello, what have I done now? That's it. Not having those to snag on makes it a lot easier, because you see they are now retained in the case. Now anybody who knows anything about American 500 series phones will know that they are retained in the case in a very similar way. So I think this is an idea that's kind of come from the Americans, and of course those cases just slip on nice and easily. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's really good. I have no idea why this did not catch on. Having said that, the only thing that you do have to be a bit careful of when you're doing it is you have to make sure you've got the cutout for the finger stop in the right place on the bezel. But once you do get it in the right place, it's there and it works. And this phone does work, by the way. I tried it earlier. It does operate. I will plug it in for you and we will see if we can get a ring out of it, shall we? There you go. Ringing. Hello. You see it blowing to one, listening to the other. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. It works. It's fantastic. I'm really impressed with it. I think it's really good. So there you have it. The 746T. Keep an eye out for them. Because they're really good. Just a shame it's grey. One of the least exciting colours. You know, when they do field trials, why don't they do them in a more interesting colour than grey? Well, yeah, so that is a 746T. So we have to do a bit of very rapid restoration on that. The cord for it is a bit weird as well. The curly cord is a bit sort of all twisty, and that I could do with doing something with that to sort that out. But other than that, it's brilliant. It's a really good phone. Mega impressed with it. Wesley says, I wonder if they had other colours in the range as part of the trial. I don't know, Wesley. There is no information about this trial at all, or even if it was a trial. It's interesting because normally field trial stuff does say field trial on it, but this doesn't say field trial on it anywhere. So I don't even know if it was an official field trial, but it's a 746T. So if you want to have a little Google around on that and see if you can find anything about that, then let me know if you find anything. I would be very interested to know what you can discover about it. If you do know anything about it, get in touch with us. If you've got the email address, of course you've got it, and you know where to get hold of us. If you've not got the email address, then in the first instance you can contact me via the website, where you will find a contact form, andyshed.coldpress.net, and click on contact us on there, and there's a little form you can fill in that will then ping me a secret email, and then when I know you're not a spam bot, I will actually send you an email reply so you've got the proper email address. I don't give the email address out on here, because if I do, I get loads and loads of spam, and the only spam that I like is the sort that you can fry and put between two slices of bread. Right, okay. So yeah, that's what's arrived this week in telephone land. Nothing else telephone wise has come this week, thank God, because I'm just getting buried under them. I'm getting absolutely buried in telephones at the moment. They are coming thick and fast. Somebody said to me the other day, how many do you have? I haven't got a clue. There must be well over 300. There must be well over 300. I did, at one point, years ago, start doing like a session in log, like museums do, for all the telephones. But the telephones outpaced how fast I was doing with the log, and I've got a lot more since then. So I kind of would have to start again now, I think, from scratch. But yeah, there's a lot, let's say. I would like to open some sort of museum at some point in history, because I've got various things, not just telephones, but I've got various things that really ought to be, I feel, in part of a museum collection somewhere. So yeah, and we are lacking in a museum for sort of mechanical objects, really. I mean, there is a guy on YouTube called Look Mum No Computer, who's got a museum down in Kent somewhere, I believe it is. I'm feeling it's Margate, but I'm not certain about that. And that has been quite popular from what I gather. But he's got all sorts of things. He's got a Strowgy telephone exchange in there, and he's got all kinds of analog synthesizers as well, because he's into his analog synths and stuff like that. But he's got various things in this little museum that he's opened, and apparently it's been quite successful. But we need something, and we need something really for telephones, because there is a museum at Milton Keynes. It is a general museum for the Milton Keynes area. That's quite a collection of communications and telephone stuff in it. Then there's a national kiosk collection of phone boxes, of course, which is near Birmingham. But we've not got just basically a straightforward telephone museum anywhere, which I think is a crying shame. You see, Crouch could have done it. The Tramway Museum at Crouch could have easily done it because they had a working Strowger for all their internal communications, but they got rid of it and put in modern telephones in a museum setting that's supposed to be like a period street scene, and they took out the period telephones and put modern ones in. Idiots. So yeah, they really missed a trick there. So we need a museum. So it's one of the things on my list of things to do is the telephone museum. Who's with me? Hands up. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the many things on my list of things to do. So don't hold your breath anytime soon. Right, we have got spam bots in the chat again, by the looks of it. How can I get rid of those? No idea, because I would have to log into YouTube to get rid of them, and I can't do it. Let me have a little look, see if I can do that. Perhaps I'm going to have to start having somebody as a moderator on here to kill the spam bots. Right, your channel. Right. Let's see if I can. Remove the spammers. Right, I think I've done it. I think I've got rid of the spammers now. Hopefully, anyway. Yeah, hopefully they've gone. I believe they've been removed. Right, okay. Right, that's the spammers gone out of the equation. Right, get rid of that. Miguel says, just ignore them, they will get bored and go. Yeah, they don't seem to, though. These bots don't seem to get very bored. Gambo says, Darvel Telephone Museum. Darvel? Never heard of it. Where's that then, Gambo? Darvel Telephone Museum. Let's have a... I shall Google it. It may just be one I've never heard of. The Darville Telephone Museum. Where's that then? Don't say Darville. Where's Darville? Scottish Hidden Gems. Interesting. A fantastic little museum full of very interesting old telephones and switchboards. It's not open all the time, so you'll need to call to book. But usually open on doors open days. Right. The Darville Telephone Museum. Does it tell you where it is? It's sort of on the west coast of Scotland, just south of Glasgow, sort of southwest of Glasgow. Yeah, near Kilmarnock it is. Kilmarnock and Irvine and Troon and that kind of area. Yeah, so it's quite a way, but that looks like the sort of thing I will have to find out more about them and get back to you. But it looks good, the Darville Telephone Museum. Do you want to see? Hang on, let me see if I can get it up, get a picture of it up. Here it is. The Darville Telephone Museum. And as you can see, they appear to have got a fair old bit of stuff in the old Darville Telephone Museum there. Quite a bit. Quite a bit going on, I would say. Let's see if we've got any more photos. Oh yeah, switchboards. That must be the outside of it. Oh, is that it? 3 of 3 photos. Yeah, that's it. That's all the photos there are, unfortunately. Yeah. Need more photos of that. But yeah, the Darville Telephone Museum. Well done, Gambo. I had no idea that existed. That's a totally new one on me, is that? So well done for spotting that. Right, what am I doing here? I'm clicking all sorts of buttons. Right, where are we in the chat? Gambo says it's at 1 Burn Road in Darville, KA17OJA. Chris said, did you see the photo of my 746 phone with South Melbourne Dale label, Andy, that I sent? I know you sent a picture, Christopher, but I've not opened it on the computer yet. Just bear with me one moment. I will see what I can do. Christopher says Melbourne has a telephone museum in Australia. Yeah, it's a bit of a way to go though, that is, Christopher, really. A little too far, particularly for me to take 300 telephones. Yeah, Christopher GPO home phone, that's the one, isn't it? That's the one. Chris says, "Hi Andy, this phone gets used all the time in the house. I have got the label as South Melbourne, where I live, and the correct area for Melbourne in Australia." Excellent. Right, if only I could get it to come up on the... There we go. There's Christmas phone that he uses all the time. It's hotline. It's quite a nice one actually. That an early one, of course, with the slopey top end of the case. It's not got the sort of groove for the handset to fall into. They say the handset could slip off of those cases. I don't know how you make it do it. I've tried multiple times to make a handset slip off one of those cases, and I can't make it do it. You would have to be a properly clumsy oaf to not be able to hang one of those up properly, I have to say, because I've never managed it. But it has also got a photo of the bottom of it. There you go. See, it's a 746L made by AEG in 1967, so it is a very, very early one, hence the alphanumeric bezel on it. But yeah, quite a nice one that. So I think that is about it. I think Christopher has got quite a varied telephone setup at home, as you can see from this photo that he sent. So he's got an Ericsson N1340 838T version without a dial on it there, which is a hotline to his mobile phone. So I assume you just pick that up and it dials your mobile automatically, does it, Christopher? Set up on the ATA to dial automatically. Then there's a CNET phone, an N1970B. That's quite a nice one in green. Always a bit more unusual to find those Ericsson phones in colours other than grey. He's then got a GPO landline 746L, and he's got a 746F that he's using as a 4G phone. Not quite sure how you do that. I assume it's linked to some kind of mobile phone interfacing device, like an X-Link thing or whatever they call them. Is it X-Link that they call them? Can't remember now. I've had a sleep since then. But yeah, quite a nice collection of phones that. Nice colourful collection of four, isn't it, that? Yeah. Right, okie dokie. How are we getting on? What are folks saying? Right, I will shut the thing there. Gambo says, I've not been to this museum to see it, to be honest. As I only found out about it before lockdown. Yeah, Gambo, well, I've never heard of it. So it must be a little place that's not terribly well publicised, I would think. Dominic says, did you see the clips of my repair turntable? Yes, Dominic, I'm liking the repair turntable. And Christopher says he's got a 4G ATA for the red phone in that picture. A 4G 8, so it's a ATA. Instead of going down the phone line, it goes out over 4G. Is that right? Chris said it's cool. I can call the UK from Melbourne in Australia over CNET. It is cool. CNET is a very cool thing. People can call from all over the place on it, and they do actually. We do get calls from all over the place on it, because there are CNET users in Australia other than you, Christopher. I believe there's a museum somewhere in Australia that you can go to that's got a CNET phone in it, that people in the museum, visitors can go and pick the phone up and dial into CNET, and because CNET's got lots of interesting sort of recorded messages and things on it, and they can dial into those, so and make it a bit more of an interactive experience for them at the museum. But that phone is hosted by a chap called Ian in Mold in Wales, who hosts that phone in the way that I host Christopher's and Michael's and one or two others on it. Yeah, if anybody's thinking about getting a CNET phone and wants hosting, we are now up and running again. So get in touch if you want me to host you an ATA on CNET. All you actually need to get up and running on CNET, as well as an old phone to plug into it, is a decent internet connection and an ATA. And if you're using a pulse dialing phone, like basically any phone with a dial on it, you need a ATA that accepts pulse dialing. And the Grandstream range are ones that we know generally accept pulse dialing. I've got a Grandstream 502 here that ran for many years, but is out of service at the minute because it suddenly stopped working. And what I think happened is, with it being on all the time, I think a capacitor has dried out inside it, so I think I need to change a capacitor or something inside it. It's one of those when I get round to it jobs that I never seem to get round to. But yeah, it's a very cool thing, CNET, and it works incredibly well. I think my favourite bit about it is the old-fashioned speaking clock, where you get the time at the third stroke. The time will be 8:34 and 10 seconds. Beep, beep, beep. Unfortunately, it's not got the sponsored by Accurist bit in it, because when I remember it, it was sponsored by Accurist, and she used to go, at the third stroke, the time sponsored by Accurist will be, and it's not got the sponsored by Accurist in it. But it is a very good facsimile of the old British speaking clock. If you want to try it, any of you that I am hosting on CNET can try it by dialing 98081. That's 98081, and you should get the British speaking clock, the old-fashioned British speaking clock from the sort of 1970s and early 1980s. Right, Wesley says, I've got a TIM 2000 speaking clock. Yeah, what were they, Wesley? The TIM 2000s. I've heard of this project before to make these, but I'm not sure of what they are. Are they actually a reconstruction of an original TIM with the discs in it? Not sure. I can't say that I've ever actually seen one in person. But weren't they sort of Kickstarter campaign or something in the fairly early days of Kickstarter, or something like that? I seem to think it was something like that. Right. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to have a little look, see if we could find Dominic's turntable, wasn't I? Right, where are we? World Railways. Oh yeah, here's Dominic's turntable. Working and doing its thing. Right, you can't see it. How can I show you that? Let's have a look. Right, so can I do it like that? No, I can't. Right, hang on, I've got to try and do something clever here. It's on YouTube, so I should be able to do that. Oh, can I play that? Yeah, that'd be clever if I can play it and play it out to you, wouldn't it? Yeah, there it goes. So this is Dominic's newly repaired Sony turntable, which has got these very interesting sort of touch sensitive buttons on the front that are like two metal contacts that your skin has got enough conductivity in it to make the two sort of contact things bridge when you press them together. Similar to if anybody had a Monitel device under their telephone, similar to how they worked. If you remember what a Monitel was. Right, very cool indeed. I like it. Dominic says it took ages to recalibrate the start-stop positions on the automatic mechanism, but it's all working flawlessly now. Wesley says about the TIM 2000, he says it was done by Andy Emerson in the Telephone Heritage Group. It was a kit you could build up. There is a bit on it on Sam Hallis's website. Oh, I'll have a look at that later. It was a kit then, was it? This thing, this TIM 2000. Whereas it says I'll put it on my SIP-gate line when I get a chance, and you can dial into it. Wesley, you need CNET. You need a CNET connection. Chris says, did you see a photo of my CB radio with a GPO handset? I said, Andy. I did see it on my phone, Christopher, but it's not made it to my computer yet for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes emails don't get to my computer terribly quickly. I don't know why, because they sort of come into an email server and then my computer downloads them, and sometimes it doesn't download all of them at first go. You know, you have to come back sometimes later and open it again, and then it downloads some more. So it'll be there somewhere, but it's not filtered through yet. But I have seen it, because I've seen it on my phone. Right, okie dokie. Yeah, I think we've about corrected it for today. I think that is about almost as far as we go. There is one other thing that I have acquired this week, and it's a diesel heater. It's one of these famous Chinese diesel heaters that there are lots of videos of on YouTube. I have bought one this week. It's turned up today. It's in a box at the minute. When we come off here, I'm going to take it out of the box and have a look at it, and hopefully get it set up, because it's been super cold here recently and thoughts are turning to heaters. But that's going to be my job for this coming week. I've also got a clock on the bench here that some of the eagle eyes of you will have spotted that I need to put back together. So I am not short of things to do this week. Really not short of things to do, as you can see from all the clutter around me. We have also got this to sort out as well at some point, and lots of other things. Lots and lots of other things. Right, I think that is probably about as far as we go for this week. Wesley says he suspects that speaking clock on CNET will be a TIM 2000. No, it's not, Wesley. It's done by a computer. I believe a Raspberry Pi does it, but it is part of Asterisk. It is written in the language that the Asterisk system uses, that CNET is based on, and it's basically 40 or 50 lines of code perhaps in a computer program, and that's what does it. That's what does the CNET one, because occasionally the voice changes on it, and it has been in the past. It's been the Queen, and I think somebody from the Archers did it once. Third stroke, the time will be. So yeah, no, it's not a TIM 2000. The one on CNET, the one that you get by dialing 98081, if you are registered with me, it is electronic. It's not a TIM 2000. That somebody may have got a TIM 2000 on there or another number, but that one is electronic on CNET. Right. As I say, thanks to everybody for taking part again today. I'm going to nip off a little bit earlier today because, well, like I say, I've got tons of stuff to do this week. We've been doing all kinds of things, and like I say, most of my time today was taken up doing this impromptu repair on this 746T. If anybody can find out anything about the 746T, I would be very interested to know a bit more about it, because I just know it exists. There's mention of it existing, but there's no mention about why it exists or what happened to them or whatever. But when this other bit arrives, I will have kind of one and a bit of them. But how many were there? Where were they used? It's all stuff that is questions. So if anybody knows anything about a 746T, please do get in touch with us. Like I said, there's a contact form on the website, andyshed.coldpress.net, and remember, you can also get in touch with us via the forum, gpotelephones.proboards.com as well. It would be remiss of me, while I'm mentioning stuff like this, not to mention Patreon as well. If you are not a patron already, why not join up? It's about £1 a month or thereabouts to be a patron on Patreon, and all those pounds basically go to help keep this show running, keep us buying strange things like the 746T that you've seen today, and maybe one day, maybe we will get that museum open. Who knows? Right, that is about it for now. I will see you all next week, all being well. So from me for now, have a fantastic week ahead until next Sunday, same time, same place. Oh, there is another episode of How to Start a Radio Station coming out this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Click the little notification belly thing on YouTube if you want to be reminded about it, but it should be released on Wednesday about 7 p.m. and this is an interesting one because it's about nab carts. But until next week when we will be live again, have a great one and we'll see you soon. Bye for now, everybody.